Awesome. So this session is all about how you can get started with AWS. Before we dive into the details of how you can get started and create your AWS account, do that first project. So a big shout out to everyone. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. And where we're going to start is by checking out actually this page that's just about how to get started with AWS. So let me send that link to everyone here. What's really important in calls like this is that everyone has resources to take home because everyone learns at a different pace. So that if we have these resources in front of us, we can always catch up in our own time or come back to the same resources to process it a little bit deeper. Now, I'm about to send that link, but actually before I do that, can everyone add to the chat, why are you here? Why are you learning AWS? And also number 2 is, do you have a certain question or something that you're not sure about AWS? It would be awesome if you also let us know, where are you at right now in your AWS learning journey? Have you created an AWS account before, for example? So let me type that into the chat here. So first one is, why are you wanting to learn AWS? Number 2 is, do you have any questions or goals for today's chat? And then number 3 is, where are you at right now in your AWS learning journey? Have you created an AWS account before or done a project? All right, so I know there's like 3 separate questions, so I'm gonna just give us time to respond to those. And yeah, a big shout out to Emily and Augusto for joining the call today. So this is going to be a bit of a smaller group chit chat kind of style to get you started with AWS. Instead of it being a huge presentation, there's going to be a lot of like hands-on interactivity, so that you can really just kickstart and have something to do, something concrete to work on, even after this call. Okay, so what's going to be really helpful and make the most out of everyone's time is if you can respond to these 3 questions. I'm going to give you some more time to have a think and have a go at these. Cool. Awesome. So if you're not sure about where to type in the answers, just in the chat will be perfect. And if you have any like things you're worried about with these questions or something you're not sure about, let me know as well. Nice. Well, while everyone is like entering their thoughts about these, I'll just quickly do an introduction into like myself and I guess my answers to the 3 as well to just kick things off. So why I'm learning AWS is just to really have a good understanding of the way the world works. The more you learn about AWS, I promise you, the more you're gonna realize, oh my goodness, I had no idea that this company is using AWS, or, oh, I had no idea that it was because of cloud computing, that this is the reason why, for example, Netflix has such a huge category of movies and TV shows I can just stream on my computer at any time. Why is it I don't have to download this content to watch it? Oh, it's because all of that content is stored in the cloud. And when I access Netflix, I'm actually getting data from the cloud, and that is all powered with AWS. Some awesome companies are all using AWS in the background, whether you know it or not. And I just really like knowing that we get the benefits of having cloud computing, and it's become so integrated in our lives that we don't really need to say, oh, this is because of cloud computing. You're just using this awesome app or this awesome service. But to really understand, you will have to know cloud computing in the first place. And once you know cloud computing, you understand how it works, you get a much deeper appreciation for the way things are today. And you even get to start creating your own solutions. So yeah, a big shout out to Priyanshu for saying AWS is the leading technology. I'm graduating in 2025. That's awesome. I want to leverage my skills and be more advanced in my career. Augusto said, I just created my new account for AWS and prepare for the AWS practitioner exam. Augusto, all the best with that. When is your practitioner exam? Do you have a certain date you're working towards? Brittany says, I just want to get started. There's so much information out there. I don't know where to start. Agreed. My main goal is to get a better understanding about navigating AWS and starting projects. Easy as. We'll get that done for sure. I have an account already created and have not done much with it. I started working through some of the self-paced tutorials on the AWS website, like the interactive games. Yeah, I know what you mean, the Cloud Quest. The Cloud Quest is pretty cool. And I have a few ideas on things that we can even like level up your learning. And yeah, we'll get started with that soon. Oh, very, very cool to hear from Priyanshu that you already have an AWS account as well, but you just haven't started any projects yet. Same with Xinghui. I like to learn more about cloud as a software engineering student. I know that AWS is one of the cloud computing platforms. That's honestly better than when I was studying at uni, that's for sure. And you want to just know more about cloud and AWS. Oh, that's awesome, everyone. Thank you, Emily, as well, for saying, I want to have more experience in the cloud and create more projects. I'm interested in creating projects in the cloud so I can put it on my portfolio. I already have an account and I already have an AWS Cloud Practitioner cert. Great job, good on you. But I need more experience by creating projects. Yeah, I think this is super true. When we started the Nextwork community, we honestly expected that a lot of the people coming through will be people that have maybe never done like any AWS projects before, because they don't really know what AWS is in the first place. What we ended up seeing a lot is actually people who have gotten certified and now really see the value in practicing what you've learned through projects. So actually a big chunk of the Nextdoor community are people who are already certified, who have already achieved like solutions architect, cloud practitioner, and they're now here to just supplement and really like solidify what they've learned using projects. I just think that's an awesome reason for doing projects too. So welcome, Emily. Okay, all right. So now that we have a really good understanding of where everyone's at, thank you so much for sharing that you already have an AWS account. Because now that I know that actually everyone that's replied in the chat already has an account, we won't spend a lot of time in creating one in this session. We'll actually spend more time in talking about what you can use with that account. So yeah, that is already a big learning, a big takeaway for me. If you are still completely new where you don't have an AWS account yet, that's also okay. We won't be going through it now, but here you go. I'll just send it through already here so that you have a guide on how to set one up. So you can follow that link in the chat and you can set up your AWS account just like that. Cool. So with projects and with using your AWS account, I think some things to really understand and to go over with yourself is one, do you have a budget for working with projects? Do you want to have all your projects for free, or are you willing to spend a few dollars? How far are you willing to go in terms of creating projects with your AWS account? And two, are you someone that is keen to do short projects where you have maybe just 1 hour in your day? Or are you someone that has multiple hours in a single session and you can dedicate yourself to completing like maybe multiple projects in a week? The reason for understanding these two things is going to come really, really handy when you're actually doing projects, okay? Because one thing to know about AWS is that even if you've signed up and you haven't been charged yet, it doesn't mean that you won't get charged at all ever, okay? When you signed up, you probably would have had to pass through some credit card details, which means that AWS has your credit card on hand and they can charge you when they're like, okay, you've used beyond the free tier limits. If you want to just stay within the free tier, which all Nextwork projects do, you will get to not spend a single cent on any of these projects. But the reason why I mentioned that second thing is like how much time do you have for doing projects is if you are someone that already only has an hour or two to do a project, you need to make sure you have the habit of deleting everything. Okay, delete everything off of your account by the time you close your laptop and come back to it on another day. Okay, before we honestly start any project, just please know that even if a project is free, if you leave those resources in your account for a very, very long period of time, for a few days, for a week, for a month, etc., AWS can start charging. So if you're someone that is still going to spend maybe just an hour or two on AWS, delete everything, don't get charged, okay? It's a scary thing to say upfront. Like this is one thing that I always want to hold back on telling students because they'll immediately go, oh, it might cost me money. Like maybe I just won't learn AWS at all. But to be honest, it's truly one of the first things you need to know so you can avoid any of these nasty surprises down the line. Okay, so question for everyone in the chat. Um, have hmm, do you want to keep all your projects free? Do you know now what you need to do to keep projects free in your account? Okay, so I'm just going to pose that question in the chat. As you might have noticed, I'll be asking questions every few minutes so that we're always, like, you're always giving me feedback. We're always engaged. And then this chat is in a very productive direction for you. Emily, in the meantime, is saying, I subscribe to the AWS Skill Builder. Can I just use the Sandbox Lab there so I don't have to spend more money before using AWS free tier? Great question, Emily. So when you're using the AWS Skill Builder, if you don't know what Skill Builder is, it's a platform where you can, provided by AWS, where you can do practice labs. And it's true that if you use a Sandbox Lab there, you don't need to spend money. It is a limitation that you don't get to explore all of the services that AWS gives you because each sandbox will probably limit to just what services you're allowed to use for that specific lab. I don't think if you use a sandbox lab, it's very, very likely that you won't get to do projects, outside of what the lab gives you. For example, if you wanted to do like a next work project using the sandbox lab, it'll probably stop you at some point. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, Brittany, for mentioning you'd love to keep your projects free. If you get more experience, you're open to budgeting for more complex projects, that's great. That's awesome. And yeah, Priyanshu knows how to use it for free. So that's perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is it sounds like people in the group here has a good understanding of creating an AWS account. But what I'm seeing a lot of in everyone's first responses is you want to understand how to actually you want to have a better understanding about cloud and about AWS. You want more experience in cloud. Okay, so what this means is, new question for everyone, okay? How would you explain AWS or cloud to someone else? Do you have confidence in your definition? Okay, and this is a slightly bigger question, but if you're not sure how to explain cloud or AWS, that's okay. You can just mention that. If you do have confidence, then that's cool. You can enter your definition and we can talk about that too. Challenge yourself a lot. I think the biggest thing with learning AWS and doing projects is that you consistently need to challenge your understanding. Do I actually get this? Can I actually do this without guidance? How would I explain this to someone else? The moment you ask these questions to yourself, you start to really challenge your learning beyond just like, oh yeah, I got that. Yeah, I understood that. Having to actually explain something back really like boost your learning from like 0 to 100 very, very quickly. So give yourself the chance to just answer that question. You don't need to be a pro. Just tell yourself now, today, right now, how would you explain AWS or cloud to someone else? Do you have confidence in that definition? Cool. So Brittany mentions I can confidently tell someone what the acronym AWS stands for. That's awesome. I feel like that's actually something that will benefit a lot of people. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who also don't know what AWS stands for yet. So that's awesome, Brittany. Cool. I'll just wait another minute or two for everyone to join in with their responses. Great. We have Emily and entering her first response. Nice work, Emily. Saying it's like your computer that you can access anywhere in the world. I can also say it's a virtual machine that you can access whenever you want to. Very cool. I'll wait another minute or two for everyone else to enter your thoughts. Ooh, we have a new answer. We got Sai. Hello, Sai. I don't think we got to say hi previously. I hope you're doing well today. Sai says, AWS is like a virtual environment which provides services that can be managed by AWS or by the user. Wow, a very technical kind of explanation of AWS as well. That's awesome. Oh, nice. Priyanshu, with AWS or cloud computing, you're not responsible for managing your own computer infrastructure. You rent access to someone else's powerful computers and IT expertise through the cloud. Oh, very nice. Guys, you guys are doing awesome. This is really cool. It's a really, really great foundational understanding of cloud and AWS. Everyone has gotten something really right here. Okay, so if you're thinking about, what is AWS, how would you explain it to someone else? It really is like, oh, like what Prabal is saying, using a big, powerful computer online. Instead of owning a lot of expensive equipment, you can rent space and tools from AWS to store files, run websites, use apps. Excellent work, everyone. Yeah, this is really, really good. So if you want to know more about cloud, AWS, why it really exists, a great place to start is to think about, oh, why was it invented? Why was cloud computing invented in the first place? What problem was it here to solve? So let's talk about that problem for a little second. And AWS, as you might have noticed by now, stands for Amazon Web Services. Amazon was the big like creator of AWS. And at the time, what AWS was here to solve, it was this problem that whenever you needed to expand your computing power, you had to buy physical servers. That was a very, very core problem that they were trying to solve. So we, as users, just use like computers, your laptops, and that's like your physical server. If you're saying, oh, I want to use Word, I want to run an app, I want to play a song, you can open your computer, which is like a physical server, and you can do that task, and that computer will run that task for you. And when it runs the task, you're like, great, now I can run this app. Now I can watch this video. I can listen to this song. I can write this document. I can do what I want to do. Computers and companies have this kind of relationship with computers in a much, much, much bigger scale. It gets to the point where you have Amazon who are serving millions of customers. When you're using your own personal computer, you're just serving yourself. I'm doing something for me. But then when you're actually like a huge company like Amazon, like Netflix, Airbnb, you have to serve so many customers. Your one computer needs to start serving the requests of these people all around the world, okay? Because what if there's a customer that's here to watch a movie And now it's like millions of customers want to watch a movie. Can your computer handle that? Well, the answer is actually no. Okay, our computers have limitations on how much it can process and how much it can achieve. It's like when you have lots of tabs open on your computer and suddenly your computer runs really, really slowly. And you're thinking, oh, like, why is it so slow? I mean, at that point, you're already giving your computer a lot of tasks to run at the same time. So when you get to a scale of handling millions of customers, definitely a single computer is not going to cut it. Like even a computer for everyone in the company is not going to cut it. There's just too much stuff to process. So when that happens, companies lend the help of external servers. So it's kind of like how when you run out of storage on your computer, you can like buy like a hard drive. And then this is like a 1 terabyte hard drive that you can plug into your computer, and now you have extra storage. So companies can also do that for extra computing power. Okay, computing power is a huge keyword with AWS and cloud computing. And what happens is companies can buy extra servers. It's kind of like that 1 terabyte USB, huge USB or data storage thing. But instead of just storing data, imagine if that extra block of thing can now help your computer run 10 more tabs. It can now run 3 more apps. All you have to do is just connect that physical server with like what you're currently running. So companies started doing that. They're like, great, we have physical servers that we can now bring into the company, and they can run all of these extra millions of tasks that we needed to run because we've grown as a company and we have so many things to do. These physical servers were great, okay, because it solved that problem. But imagine what kind of problem would have happened because of these physical servers. Would you like to take a guess? Would you like to take a guess in here? So question for everyone. What do you think was a problem with having physical servers? And the keyword is physical here. Physical servers run all the extra tasks or applications that companies wanted to run. Okay, what do you think was a problem with using physical servers run all of these extra tasks? Okay, it was a great solution because now you can actually serve your customers. But what problem do you think came with that? Okay, and a big shout out to George, by the way. Hi, George. It's been awesome seeing you in the Nixon community, and to see you now in this call is really nice. Right now, we're going through a quick introduction to AWS by discussing why it actually exists. Why does AWS and why does cloud exist? I've just asked a question in the chat around what do you think was a problem with having physical servers run all of those extra tasks, all of those applications that companies wanted to run? Give that a go. Hi, George. Thank you so much for saying thank you, Nat. Cool. And if you're worried about saying the wrong thing, just know that this is truly just such a non-judgmental space that I hope you feel comfortable to share your thoughts here. Yeah, I think the best way to learn, honestly, is when you're making mistakes. And I learned the best about AWS when I made mistakes, when I said the wrong answer, and I was like, oh, that's why. And when you say the right answer, it's extremely satisfying. Everyone that's talked about the definition of AWS was completely right, So I'd love to hear what your thoughts about this second question here. Cool, we'll give us like another minute or two. Oh, I'm loving the thoughts. I'm loving the discussion, everyone. Thank you, Sai, for mentioning if any natural disasters destroy the servers, then the users lose the access. My goodness, that's such a good point. Okay. At the end of the day, even when you're using computing power from somewhere else, even in the cloud, okay, what's happening in the background is that there is like physical servers processing these tasks. Sai has made a really good point here by saying if any natural disasters come and destroy the servers, the users will like lose all of these servers. Why was that an issue? Well, if you think about it, AWS right now is probably running heaps of servers in order to provide all of this cloud computing power to people all over the world. But before AWS started, every single company had to deal with buying servers and managing physical servers by themselves. Every single company had to do it by themselves. And this kind of expertise takes a lot of time to understand, and servers takes a lot of time to manage and maintain as well. Imagine if you're just a company with 6 people, or just a company with maybe like 30 people, and you really don't have the budget or the time to have a whole other person dedicated to managing the servers. But then if you don't do it well, then well, you will absolutely lose access to your stuff if natural disasters destroy it, or if it just like if your servers weren't well maintained and it collapses. This kind of stuff is really stressful for companies. They honestly will prefer that they focus on creating their app or delivering their key service without having to worry about managing these physical servers. Okay, so that was a bit of a problem there. It takes time to manage, and also a big thing about physical servers is that they can overheat. And that actually was a huge problem, because if you store your server in your office space, chances are the room you're storing it in isn't going to give it the right environment for it to not overheat. And when it overheats, things will start like breaking down, literally. And that's why rooms that store these servers, called data centers, need to be like extremely air conditioned. I bet like AWS's air conditioning bill is extremely high, honestly, just from having to keep these servers cool alone. Um, and yeah, like Xinghui says, there's a cost issue. You're wasting more time in managing the servers. Managing servers takes a lot of time. Brittany, it was hard to troubleshoot unless you were present. Very, very excellent point. Imagine if there was someone that's in Atlanta, Georgia, and they are managing their servers, and then they need to call up someone with expertise to sort out something that was happening like in their physical server, or just happening in their like network. How hard would it be for someone that's an expert that's on the other side of town, or maybe they're just in a completely different city, maybe they're in a different country right now, to actually troubleshoot that? How would you know if you can't like touch and interact with your physical server, and if your network was so protected that anyone like outside of the physical like vicinity of that server can't even access it at all? There's a lot going on there. So Brittany is spot on. Yeah, limited resources, space, and power consumption management. Absolutely that. Priyanshu's correct there too. There's the air conditioning bill, there's a lot of power related, like energy bills, honestly, just for running that server as well. And Emily's saying you're going to need more CPU and memory. I think this is something that absolutely physical servers can solve as well. It's not really a problem that physical servers bring, it's actually a problem that servers solve in general. Norcel says, I think maybe the cost of maintaining the physical servers. Yeah, so it's absolutely a cost thing. Okay, everyone got that right. Sai, thank you so much for also mentioning, the natural disasters and the risk that it comes with. Brittany mentioning how it's hard to troubleshoot. Across the board, look at all of these amazing answers that we already have. Hard to troubleshoot. Natural disasters, there's risk, there's cost, okay? There's also like limited resources, which comes with cost as well. One thing we haven't talked about yet, okay, is time, okay? Maybe that also comes under limited resources. So shout out to Priyanshu for mentioning that. Time is a huge resource that no company likes to lose, okay? In a competitive market where every company is like, go, 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 maybe we need to release something quick. Imagine if there was a situation where for some reason your product or your app, something that you're delivering to the world, goes viral. Absolutely crazy viral. Suddenly you've hit the news, everyone wants to visit your application, your website. You already have a nice physical server next to you that's designed to handle some extra tasks. And now everyone's like into your app. They really want to see it. Everyone's visiting your app. and they're trying to do something. They're trying to sign up. They're trying to buy something. They're trying to do like what your app delivers. Okay. And that creates so many extra tasks that your one physical server that you've prepared is not enough. Okay, not enough. My product is viral right now. It's not going to be viral forever. I need to get a new physical server right now. Do you know how long that would take actually for a company to set up and sort out for a new product or for like a very hot moment, like a viral moment like this? Sometimes it takes weeks. It literally takes weeks for a physical server to be set up in your company, to actually be connected with all of your resources. So imagine how much potential you lose because you're waiting for a physical server to be set up, or you're just waiting for that physical server to come to your door. That's insane. That's an insane cost. That's more than just money now. It's like what lost opportunity. Okay. And now imagine you still went through the pain of getting that new server. It's here with you now. Okay. So now you have two servers. And now because you have two servers, you're like adding a lot more extra costs in terms of managing that server, in terms of having to like pay for the air conditioning, all of that. But then your viral moment was already over. You still need to pay for maintaining that server. You don't actually need it anymore, but it's just like sitting right next to you because you bought it, you know, to take care of that viral moment. Well, now it's just almost like a wasted cost. You bought this physical server, and now it's just incurring extra charges for you when your app isn't like getting heaps of users, when it's not even being used. So that means that you actually wish that there was a way for you to just turn off that server and leave it, like delete it or something in the time that you don't need it. Okay. And that's also another great benefit of cloud and cloud computing and AWS is the fact that you imagine if your room of physical servers can add extra servers instantly the moment you need it. The moment you even hit virality, the moment people start to visit your app, if cloud detects that, oh, someone is sending these requests, we need more computing power, we need to process all of these tasks, it can automatically add a new server in your room instantly. So you don't even need to call someone to order it. It's just there already. And now imagine if AWS and cloud can detect that, oh, people have left the app, you know, the viral moment's over, we're not getting a spike anymore. Let me automatically remove those servers for you so you're not paying for these extra things, okay? And they just remove for you. And now your room of servers is always at the perfect amount for whatever you need. Is it a busy period? Is it a calm period? And you never have to pay for unnecessary resources, okay? So those are the two things I noticed we haven't mentioned yet that I would add. One is time, okay? And the other one is making sure that if you don't need it, that it's not there. And if you need it, that it's there. So I hope that really helps with understanding why AWS exists and why cloud exists. So question for everyone, what do we think of that discussion? Are we more confident about why AWS or cloud exists, what it does? Okay, so that's the question for everyone. I really enjoy seeing everyone's answers being about how AWS is kind of like this big, powerful computer online, because you can definitely think about it that way. And what really makes that definition even more powerful is when you understand why. You know, why would people need that in the first place? So I hope that was helpful. Okay. So sending that through to everyone. Is there still something about AWS you don't understand? Add that to the chat. You know, that's what this discussion is all about. Yeah. And a big shout out to Mukul as well in the call for joining us. Oh, cool. Thank you, Priyanshu, for mentioning, you know, it helps a lot. I'm more confident to talk with anyone about AWS or cloud. And yeah, everyone, if you're still unsure if this is something that you're like, oh, can we also talk about this more? or I was hoping we would we would talk about it in this direction, add that to the chat too. Don't hesitate. That's exactly what this session's about. Cool beans. All right. So if you have any other thoughts, please add them to the chat, or you're more than welcome to like unmute yourself and mention it straight away. I think that's totally cool too. Okay, so with that said, I think we're now ready to just talk about how we can get started with projects using the account that you already have. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to share a link with everyone in the chat that's going to give you a resource for doing AWS projects. And then I'm going to show you how to make the most out of that resource. Okay, so let's do that. Of course, yeah, let us talk about those projects and how you can make the most out of it. Cool. So I'm going to send this link back in the chat. I think we're actually going to start here. This will be our starting point. Please open up this link and I'll also screen share so you can see how you can make the most out of it. Alrighty, so I should be screen sharing now to everyone. If you have any questions at any time, pause me. What's going to happen here is you're now exploring the Kickstart platform, which is all about doing hands-on projects for free. Okay, so everyone in the chat has mentioned that they like to keep their projects free, and doing Kickstart projects is absolutely a great way to do that. Okay, so when you land on this link, it's going to give you your very first project. This project is all about how to create an AWS account, which you've already done before. Okay, so we're going to now navigate through this to figure out how we can make the most out of this to do our own projects. Once you've landed here, just know that the Kickstart platform is designed to just navigate you through project to project. So if you want to make the most out of this for yourself, click here at the bottom that says My Projects like this. Okay, click here, and now you get to pick what topics you'd like to learn. Okay, AWS topics I want to learn. Since we're all beginners here, we're all newbies, what that means for you is you want to pick either 5-day challenge or beginner. Okay, these two. For anyone, let me show you what these two look like. I personally recommend the 5-day challenge because it is something that we have set up specifically for newbies to start from zero and in 5 days get to having at least 4 projects done in just 5 days. It's really cool. So you can generate the course like this. Once you click on 5-day challenge, click on generate course, and ta-da, here's your list of 5 projects that you can do. Okay, so we have already done getting started with AWS projects. You've already created your AWS account. So what you can do now is use that sidebar. Okay, notice how I can just use my cursor to just hover onto the left-hand side and get the sidebar. But really what's going to be even easier as well is you can also just click on this bottom bar here that says My Projects. Click on that. And then you can just click on the project right away. Okay. So this is the #1 recommended project to do if you've never used AWS before. Okay. Host the website on Amazon S3. This project takes about 20 to 25 minutes or 30 minutes to finish if you've already created your account. If you've never created an account before, it'll take about 1 hour to finish. And here you go. This is how you can get the project open. We're going to walk through how to go through this project. Okay, I'm going to dedicate extra time for this. I know we said it will be an hour long, but I decided actually we're going to throw in like extra time so we can go through this entire project together as well. And I would love for you to do this project with me since you already have your AWS account as well. But let's say you finish this project. Okay, let's say in an hour from now you finish this project. What you can do is all you have to do is click on My Projects again. And you can jump to your next project, Visualize Data with QuickSight. Another amazing project you can finish, usually in just an hour, but we budget for this much time because beginners might take extra time to set up an AWS account or get familiar with the console. Okay, again, you can click on My Projects and go into the next two projects here. Okay, so those here are already 4 projects you can do, all within an hour long, and they're all completely free. Completely free. Now, let's say you've all finished with the 5-day challenge. You've done all of these 4. You're ready for more. Okay, cool. You're ready for more? What you can do is you can actually click on the X button on top. And now you can select that you want all projects, for example. Generate that course again, and ta-da, here are all of our projects. Every single Nextwork project is right here for you. And yeah, all of these are completely free. Every single project you can finish for free. We don't ask for a credit card or anything. And the projects themselves are free to do on AWS, so you don't get charged by AWS either, okay? As long as you're deleting your resources at the end. So this is a collection of about 30 projects now, and it's always growing. You know, we're adding another project, at least 4 projects a month. You know, sometimes it's usually 1 project every single week, you know, in that schedule. Okay, so let's recap. When you're in the Nextwork website, what should you do first? What you could do first is click in My Projects, and then from the side, select that you want to do the 5-day challenge. This 5-day challenge here. And then once you've clicked on 5-day challenge, select Generate Course. And then from this course, get started from the very top. This is already in our recommended order. You know, we recommend you do this one first, this one second, this one third, fourth, fifth. If you're ambitious, you can honestly do all of these within 2 days, because each project is about 30 minutes to 1 hour long. It can go up to 2 hours if you want to spend extra time and make it extra like customized to you. But the project itself, you can do completely for free and in 1 hour. Cool. So do we have any questions so far? Do we have any questions so far about doing these projects? Okay. If not, I'll move on to a demo on how you can do that first project. Okay, so I'm gonna stop my screen sharing, and then I'll screen share again. A big shout out to George, who has already done their first project with Nextwork. So you're a bit of an expert over here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to literally sign in to AWS so we can explore the AWS console and do that first project in just 20 minutes. I promise you it is super quick and easy, and that's why this live demo is going to happen as well now too. Okay, so I'm just going to sign in to my AWS account from here, and then you should be able to see. Okay, very cool. All right, I'm now going to... Oh, okay. We have a question from Brittany. Great question. When I delete my project at the end, will I have to start from scratch if I want to revisit it? Not really, actually. There's one way for you to immortalize your project, even though you have to delete it at the end, and that is to create documentation for it. And Nextwork projects are designed to make that documentation so quick and easy. I will show you how right now. So let me screen share. And I love that question, by the way, Brittany. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to start screen sharing again. Please let me know whether or not you can, whoa, I think this is cool. All right, I think you should be able to still see me while I'm screen sharing like this. Please let me know whether or not you can still see me and still see the screen share. Cool, can everyone see this now? Oh, maybe not. Okay, great. Thank you, Emily, for saying yes, so you can see it. This is what's going to happen is you're going to land in your AWS console. So since everyone has already created an account, I'm going to assume you know how to log into your AWS account. If you don't know how, let me know, and we can go through that too. Augusto, thanks for saying yes as well, that you can see my screen. That's perfect. Okay, so let's do your very first AWS project. I challenge everyone in the call right now, take 1 minute. Take 1 minute to open AWS on your computer too. Okay? I'm going to pause for 1 whole minute so you can do that now. And Chuck, yes, type yes, or add an emoji into the chat once you have AWS open. If you want the link to this specific project that I have open right now, host the website on Amazon S3. Here's the link to that too, over here. Thank you, Xinghui, for saying yes. I'm gonna add an emoji into the chat since I have my console open. So let me add a little emoji for everyone. Oh, I put in the wrong emoji. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's put that in. Okay, so I have my console open. I hope everyone has theirs too. Let's get started. Let's do our very first project together. Oof, this is quite exciting. All right. Cool. I'll just wait 1 more minute. It seems like some of us might need a bit more time to open their AWS accounts. Okay. If you need more time, that's totally okay. Add that to the chat. But I'm going to get started now with the demo. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have our project on the left-hand side of the screen, and then we have the AWS console on the right-hand side. How you can do a project is by first just reading this guide to give yourself the instructions for getting started. You don't need any experience at all. Walk in as someone that's completely new to AWS with no previous experience. In this project, we're here to use Amazon S3 to get some data from anywhere on the web. You can think of Amazon S3 as the storage bucket that's in the cloud, so you can upload any document, any file, anything you want into Amazon S3, and it's kind of like that storage file. A lot of people also have other cloud storage solutions. You can think of iCloud. You know, that's the reason why photos can be stored in the cloud. Lots of people use Google Drive, for example. Google Drive is great for storing documents in the cloud. S3 is another one, okay? And S3 is a fantastic service for storing things in the cloud. It's great for companies to store code. It's great for you to store your files. And in this project, we're gonna see how you can use this storage bucket to literally host a static website, okay? And how you can go through this project is you can click on this to watch a video of Natasha, that's me, doing this project with you, or you can also choose your mode. Low touch means you don't get all the instructions for this project. High touch means you get all the instructions, okay? So you go through everything bit by bit. All right, so like what Brittany mentioned in the chat just now, how can you still access your project afterwards? It's by writing documentation. And I'm going to be showing you how you can get your own documentation, a PDF about your work by the end of this project. And it's going to be done automatically throughout this process, okay, throughout you doing this project. You'll just be answering a few questions. And before you know it, when you finish this project, boom, you get your own documentation, yeah? So step 1 says you log into AWS. I just realized if you don't have the link to logging in, here's the link now to logging into AWS in the chat. And in the AWS Management Console, okay, that's the second line, search for S3, okay? Just follow these instructions bit by bit. We're just gonna search for S3 now. And this is in the console, you can search here and you can just type in S3 like this. Yeah, look at that, that's S3. So let's click on S3. And what's next? It says choose create bucket. Okay, can you see where choose create bucket is on your screen? You should be able to find it in this orange button here, choose create bucket. And then there's an instruction to say, select the AWS region closest to you, right here. Oh, where can you select an AWS region? You can't really click here. So where should you go? So where you can go to click to find your AWS region is just by selecting what's here. Okay, what's next to your name, and you can switch to your region, switch to the right region like this. The reason why regions exist is so that it can help you lower costs and perform even faster for you. Okay, so I will just pick Oregon because that's the classic region to be in. But if you know that I'm in New Zealand, really the region I should be picking is Sydney. It's more that for demonstration purposes that we can go for Oregon in this case. If you're closer to Seoul, go for that. For anyone that is in the States right now, pick something that's in US like this. And once you've picked your region, look, there's another instruction right here for you. It says for the bucket name, bucket name right here, enter next website project name, make sure to replace name with your name. Okay, so when you see a code block like this, you just have to click on it and it copies the code block for you. Okay, so this kind of code block, you can immediately go into here, bucket name, paste it, and just replace name with your name. So here we can say Natasha, for example. I can put that in here. Okay, and when you're ever wondering what's going on, I don't really understand this, this is something you could do. You can highlight it, okay? Highlight like this, and select simplify. Whoa. When you select simplify, it gives you an extra explanation about what you've just learned, okay, or what this point is about. Let's say you don't understand what an AWS region is, okay? Select AWS region like this, select simplify. Ta-da! This is what an AWS region is. It's a geographical area where AWS data centers are located. Very cool. Now, if you don't know what AWS data centers are, you can highlight it like this. AWS data centers, select simplify again. Here we go. Now you know what AWS data centers are. Okay, so you can absolutely use this guide, this Nextword guide, to not only follow instructions, but also help understand what are these concepts and what do they mean. Okay, if you don't understand an explanation like this, highlight the whole thing, select simplify, and ta-da, now you get another explanation of an existing one. You can simplify anything in this guide. Okay, so I hope this is really helpful for you as well as you go through this, this project. So once you have completed a step like this, okay, you've just completed the step, you've entered the bucket name, you can start to actually answer questions too. And this, Brittany, is what I was meaning by how you can get documentation. So here's a question to answer. Which region did you pick for your bucket and why? Okay, in this case, you can just go, the region I picked for my S3 bucket was, what was it? Over here, we said it was Oregon. Because, let's say, Oregon is the physical region that's closest to me. And then, what does it mean that S3 buckets have to be globally unique? Okay, oh, the answer for that is right here. Why was it that our bucket name had to be Next Website Project Natasha? For you, it would be something else, Nursel, it could be Karen, it could be Xinghui, Emily, something like that. And you can write it down. S3 bucket names are globally unique. Okay, answer that question. This means, oh, there we go. This means over here, no other AWS account in the entire world can use your bucket name, okay? So a bucket is kind of like a folder. And in this case, we're kind of like saying every folder stored in S3 has to have like a unique name. Okay, cool. So this means every bucket has to have a unique name. No other bucket in AWS has the same name as mine. And then when you're done answering that question, you can click done like this, and you're all done. Okay, very nice. Very cool, Brittany, for mentioning I chose US East, North Virginia. It's the region closest to me. Exactly. You have done amazing. And then this is another question. What does it mean that S3 buckets have to be globally unique? Okay, this means every bucket has to have a unique name. No other bucket has the same name as yours. Okay, so that's perfect. Once that's done, you can even keep going down and just follow the instructions. Yeah, so I hope you can see that it is extremely, extremely beginner friendly and practical. And you can have ACLs enabled. What are access control lists? What are ACLs? Here's the explanation. Oh, okay, so an ACL, what we've just clicked here, is a set of rules that decides who can get access to a resource. Don't forget, we're here to set up an S3 bucket. So in this case, we're using ACLs to control who can access and do things with the objects that you upload into your bucket. We're about to upload some website files. And in this case, we're kind of like setting a setting for our bucket to quickly say, oh, we can use this tool called ACLs to control who can access those files that we're about to upload. There's always extra stuff that you can learn more about. And again, remember the tool that you can use, simplify. Don't understand something? That's cool. You can just highlight it, simplify. All done. Okay? So you can always dive deeper into all the concepts you don't quite understand using that simplify feature. So here you can answer another question, and this is the process for a project. It's not just following step-by-step instructions. You can always find projects that do that with you, but it is very, very hard to find a project that can really challenge your learning and make sure you got it before you move on to the next thing. And once you're done with the entire thing, a document will show that collates all of your answers to all of these questions so that you can share it with others. Here you can say an ACL is an access control list. This is the thing that we've clicked here. I've enabled it. Okay. An access control list lets us control who has access to what in my S3 bucket. Just like that, click done. Very nice. And so on and so forth. You have all of these other steps that are here to help you with getting started and here to help you with finding answers, okay, for all of these different steps in the project. So in total, there's about 5 steps. You've just completed about 1 step just by doing this. And then after 5 steps, you will be able to host a static website that looks like this. And it'll be live as well, okay? And it's really, really cool to see because it really takes about 20 to 30 minutes for you to get done. I would love to demonstrate it all, but I've noticed that maybe it is a bit difficult to follow along while following this guide on the side as well. So what we're going to do now is I've noticed that we've run over time a little bit, and I will share this link to everyone that's in the chat, okay? So that you can keep going with this project. And you can always get in touch with myself if you ever get stuck as well. But let me just do this project justice by finishing this first step, okay? Because it'll be awesome to show you just how easy. We've answered another question, and it even tells you exactly what you should pick next. Choose bucket owner preferred. Okay, bucket owner preferred, chosen over here. And then for block public settings for this bucket, clear the checkbox for block all public access. Okay, clear this checkbox. Block all public access, easy. Uncheck it. Okay, and look at that. A yellow banner has popped up over here. What does this guide say? A yellow banner has popped up. This banner is telling us that the bucket and its objects might become public if we untick the checkbox. This is actually what we want to host a public website. Yeah, when you uncheck this box that's saying, do you want to block everyone in the world from seeing your bucket's objects? And you uncheck it, AWS is going to say, whoa, 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 whoa. I just want to make sure you actually understand what's going on here. Do you know that by unchecking this box, you're pretty much opening up the possibility that people can start, that you can allow public access to what you upload? Imagine if you create like a folder, okay, in the cloud, for example, often in Google Drive, and you say that, oh, anyone should be able to access this folder that's in the cloud. You'll probably get a warning that's like, are you sure? Like, do you know what you're doing? Because you could be uploading some sensitive data. But we want this to happen. Why? Because this project is about hosting a static website, which means we want to make a website public to the world so that everyone can see. Yeah? And then you can tick that checkbox. All done. Okay. And then for bucket versioning here, choose enable. Like this. Click on enable. And if you don't know what that means, what do you use? I hope you're all saying simplify. Okay. You use simplify. Click on that. And then now you get an explanation of what bucket versioning means. Okay, cool. So as you can see, all you have to do next is click on that create bucket button. Create bucket. Cool. Nice. There you go. This bucket has been created. Oh my goodness, you can see all of my other buckets. I'm like exposing myself over here. But you should be able to see that our bucket for this project is all created. All right, so shall we take a screenshot, okay, to show in our documentation that we have created this bucket? Yeah, we definitely should do this. So let us take a screenshot. Should look like this, for example. And then drag that screenshot into your screen like this, or you can click on this panel here to upload something, and you can upload your screenshot. And now you have evidence that you've done something that this platform can store, and that will also store in your generated documentation. Let's click next. And here's a quick question for you. How long did it take to create that S3 bucket? Creating an S3 bucket took me, how long did it take us? Was anyone keeping time by any chance? How long did it take us to create that S3 bucket? Ten to 15 minutes, maybe? Yeah, I would say it took me 10 minutes, maybe. 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, I was yarning for sure. If that ended up taking us 15 minutes. But yes, if it did, let's write down 15 minutes. Thanks everyone for all of your patience. Usually if you do this project on your own, you end up doing it faster because you're comprehending information a lot quicker. Here I am also like having a chit chat as well, which I love doing. And it's probably the reason why it ended up taking 15 minutes for that first step. Now, I would love to go through maybe step 2 with you so you can also see how easy this project is to do. Okay, let's quickly go through step 2 as well. Phew, that's your S3 bucket all created. Time to get those website files inside your bucket. In this step, get ready to download an HTML file, download a zip file, upload both files into your S3 bucket. Okay, easy as. So in this section, we have to choose the name of our new bucket, which I've already done, and that's why I'm already in this page. And now we just need to upload these files. So you can right-click on files that are already given to you. You don't even need to create these files from scratch. And you can select Save Link As. And then you can save the links in, oh, I already have it in my computer, it seems. So I can just save it and maybe just replace it. Should be all good. And then same with the zip files. Save link as, and then save that. Okay, so once you unzip the file you've downloaded, you can return to the console here and upload it. Okay, so what we can do is make sure that you are, oh, actually, I think what's going to happen is I've already have my files unzipped, so you don't need to, I don't need to unzip it here. What I'm going to show you is that you can upload it like this. Oh, actually, I should show you. I should show you so that you can see how it works. I have it on my desktop here. So if you have a zipped file, you just have to double click on it to unzip it, and it unzips into this folder. Look at that. We have a lot of images for this website that we're going to host. And under, I think my document, under here, you can see index.html. Whoa, if you double click on the file, you can actually already see a preview of the website that you're about to host. That's right. If you open any HTML file on your browser, you already get a preview of what that website's going to look like. Okay, so we have our preview by double clicking on that index.html file, but it's not hosted on the internet yet. It's not online in the internet yet. So let's actually click on add folder. Okay, so we're adding that entire folder that we just unzipped. Whoa, it should be over here. Okay, you unzip the folder, you upload it, select upload. And then now, oh, I think you should be able to also click on add files here. And then you should be able to select that index.html file like this, open it up. Okay, and then select upload. There we go. Then it's just going to start uploading like this. Very nice. So what were the two files you uploaded? Here are some questions you can use to reflect. I uploaded 2 files to my S3 bucket. They were index.html. Do you remember the other one? A folder of images. Both files are necessary for this project as, how are the two files related? Okay, we'll just keep answering these questions. Both files are necessary for this project as, if you don't know, how can you find the answer? Just by going up here like this. All right, so you have an explanation of HTML, which is like index.html. And you can also see that here they tell us it's a zip file of images for your website. So you have these clues that can help you with answering these tricky questions. Okay, so both files are necessary for this project as I will need an HTML file to define a website and its structure. I also need the zip file of images as it provides the visuals, image assets for my website. Okay, select done. You've submitted your answers. You can now move on. Okay, so you just have to close like this. And ta-da, here are the 2 objects you've uploaded. Index.html, the HTML file for this website, and in the folder of image assets. Just like this. Okay, so it's looking really good. I just want to double check with everyone. If you'd like, you're more than welcome to continue this in your own time, or you can stay here and continue and finish this project with me. I will still stay on to finish this entire project since I've sent you the link now. Honestly, if it's gone a bit over time and you're thinking, oh, like I need to go now, it's totally okay. keep that link with you, save it in your computer, do this project in your own time. But I promise you, in the next 20 minutes, we can completely finish this entire project and you will have your very, very first project in your portfolio. It's very exciting. So let's take a screenshot of the objects panel here, okay, which is now showing your HTML file and the folder of image assets. So I'm going to take a screenshot like this, and I'm going to add that to my documentation. Done. Step 2 done already. Oh my gosh, so quick. That was really, really fast. And I'm going to pause now here for a checkpoint. How is everyone going with their project? Do you still have your AWS console open? Are you stuck anywhere? If you haven't started yet, why is that? Let's have a quick checkpoint so we can get in touch with each other. How are we going now? Wow, everything's good here for Brittany. Thank you so much, Brittany. Very cool. It's going great for Priyanshu as well. How are things going for Emily? How are things going for Norcel, Prabal, Sullivan, Xinghui, Dennis, Augusto? How are things going for you? Has anyone not actually opened their AWS account yet? If you haven't, share that with the chat, and then we can help each other out. You know, we can get started together as well. Or we can understand, you know, why haven't you started yet? That's also very, very helpful feedback for us. Cool. So Brittany, Priyanshu, Xinghui, Emily, Prabhat, thanks for all saying you're all good. So let's continue. Okay, so does everyone also have the project guide with them next to them by any chance? Awesome. Thanks everyone for saying, Nursel for saying good for me as well. So does everyone have their project guide next to them? Can everyone submit their first image? Text answer, okay? Okay, that's double whammy. That's two questions sent to you. I hope that's all good. But it's very, very helpful to just stay in touch about all of this that's happening. When you're doing your very, very first project, it can feel like a lot of moving parts. But that's okay. We'll go through it step by step together. I should honestly learn how to play elevator music while we wait for everyone's responses. But I'm going to keep waiting until we have at least 3 people respond to this question. And truly, if you haven't written your first answer yet, if you haven't accessed this guide yet to submit something, just tell us why. You know, do you think it's going to take too much time? Would you rather just focus on doing the project first so you don't have to think about answering questions yet? Why is it if you're thinking of waiting? Norcel says you have to leave. Where can I get the recording of this? The recording of this will be made available in a couple of days. Because it usually takes a bit of time for this to process, which is why we usually recommend that if you like, stay here now so you can get to the very end while we're all here and we've started already. All good if you need to go, Norcel. I'll make sure that the recording's available. You'll be able to find it in the community, in the Next community, by checking the community page for this event. Cool. I will also post about it on Instagram if you found out about this on Instagram too. Priyanshu says it's okay with me. I'll revisit later when you're done with screenshots. All right, all clear. So now that we have uploaded our objects, we're gonna get it ready for static website hosting. And again, Norcel, I'll see you later. Bye. And again, there's a bit of an introduction. S3 bucket. Hey, we created it already. It's right here looking back at us. Website files, uploaded. You can find it right here. You know, your website files are right here. Next up, we're going to make your website available on the internet by setting it up for static website hosting. What happened when you clicked on the index.html file locally is, look, you could open it up locally. Look at the URL in my browser. Does it say https www.something.com? No, it's just a file path. This is just showing me where I can find this file in my local computer. So if I send this link to you in the chat, let me literally send that to you in the chat right now. Can you put that into your browser? Can you open my website now? What do you think is going to happen? What happens when you try to run the link to my website on your browser? Okay, try to run my link. Okay, this link that I've just sent it to you. The link is not going to work, Emily says. All right, Emily, that's a great response. It's not going to work. I would love to hear if someone's actually tried to just like put it on their browser and run it. Will you see anything? File cannot be accessed from Brittany. Oh my goodness. Why is that? Well, what's happening here is I'm just giving you, thank you so much, Priyanshu, for saying file not found. I've just given you a link to a file that's in my local computer. We now have the files in the cloud, okay? The files are in the cloud now because we've uploaded it into S3, into the S3 bucket. That's great. But this file here is a local file path. It's just for my computer to know where a certain file is. That file, you technically don't have the exact same file path as me, okay? You don't have a folder called Natasha Ong probably in your computer. So absolutely everyone's right for saying the file can't be found. So what this step is going to be about is how can I get this ready for you to see it on your computer? How can I get that? How can I make that available? Oh, let's do it. It's so exciting. It's so easy too. So what's this concept of making it available into the public as a website is called website hosting. Website hosting is what makes your website public on the internet. Even if you perfect an HTML file, which you have when you downloaded that thing, no one else can see it when it's stored as a local file on your computer. Website hosting means it's on a web server, so it's accessible online. You might be new to the concept of web server, so you can always highlight it, okay? Simplify. Click on simplify. There you go. That is exactly what a web server is. It's a computer program that delivers web pages to users. When you type a website address into your browser, you just type nextweek.org, facebook.com, youtube.com. Your computer is actually sending a request to a web server that says, hey, Brittany wants to visit youtube.com. Can you send me the files for youtube.com? And the web server will be like, oh yeah, sure. Here are the files for youtube.com. It sends those files and your computer loads them onto your browser. So technically what happens when you run a website link, a URL, is your computer is actually visiting a server. It says, hey, Norcel wants to see this. Xinghui wants to see this. Can you give me the files? Okay, and the web server sends the files to your computer and your computer loads it in front of you. Okay, so we are going to set up the system in just a few clicks. Okay, and how that's going to work is you're in your bucket page. And if you don't know where you can find that, you can also go back to clicking buckets here if you're lost, and then selecting your bucket one more time, like here. Okay, and now you're back to your buckets page. And then you're going to choose the properties tab like this, properties tab, and then you're going to scroll all the way down. You see all of these settings that you can do with your S3 bucket. Oh my God, so many concepts. We're not even going to focus on these right now. You only want to look at the one that's at the very bottom. The one that's at the very bottom that says static website hosting. Look at this. Look at this beauty over here. Okay. All you got to do, click on edit, enable. Okay. Enable static website hosting. And then we're going to in index document, type in index.html. We're getting so close. All you have to do now is take a screenshot of your setup. Okay, let me take a screenshot like this. Okay, because that's what we need for the next step. Take a screenshot. Oof. You can take oh, actually, let me take a bigger screenshot so you can see this, everything here. So let's take a screenshot like this. Drag that, upload your screenshot, done. And notice how there's like another page. So let's answer a few questions next. What does website hosting mean? Oof, let's do this. Website hosting means I don't know if anyone's brave enough to give this question a try. You can even scroll up here to see a little bit of a definition. Okay. This is a great question. This is a great sentence to use. You can even use simplify. And you can use simplify to get even like clearer answers. Okay. So let's answer this question now. Okay, we've gotten a lot of good information from the simplify tool here. Okay, thank you, simplify. Here, website hosting means making my website files publicly available on the internet when someone types in a URL and hits enter on their browser. What happens in the background is a web server sending the website files over to the user. This is website hosting. And I've run out of characters, but maybe I can just go brackets, website hosting. Okay. And when that's done, you can click next to the next question to answer, how did you enable website hosting? Oof. To enable website hosting with my S3 bucket, what do we do? Okay, gonna give us a minute. Think about this. What do we do? You don't have to, you can type in your answer in the chat, or you can answer your question straight away in here. But what do we do here? How do we enable website hosting? Everyone, that's great. Okay, we got Emily's answer, Priyanshu's answer. Great work, everyone. Augusto, if you're still here, Xinghui, feel free to add your thoughts as well. I love these answers. To enable website hosting with my S3 bucket, I visited the properties tab of my S3 bucket, scrolled all the way down the page, and selected edit next to the static website hosting option. Then in the setup page, I enabled static website hosting. Okay, you can just do this. That sounds great. Once static website hosting is enabled, S3 produces a bucket endpoint URL, which is, ooh, spicy question. Well, we haven't actually seen that URL yet. We need to actually scroll down here, and select Save Changes like this. Done. Okay, we've saved our changes, and look at that, scroll all the way down the page again. What do you see now? The static website panel gives you a URL. Woo, nice. Click on that URL, what are you gonna see? What are you supposed to see? Well, we can write that down. Once static website is enabled, S3 produces a bucket endpoint URL, which is a URL that is supposed to take us to our publicly available website. That's what this URL is supposed to do. Does it do the job? Well, let's find out. Let's click on it. Loading, loading. Oh no, 403 forbidden. What is this? Oh no. Well, no stress. Look at what the guide is saying. 403 forbidden error. Oh, the guide already expects you. This project already expects you to run into errors. Why? Error handling is one of the biggest skills out there when you're dealing with cloud, when you're dealing with cloud services. So let us handle this error together. Such a good skill to have, to not panic at the face of errors and just think about, what can we do here to solve this problem? So let's solve this problem together. Why did I get this error? Oh yeah, objects. In this case, the HTML and image files you uploaded are private by default. What does that mean? Imagine if you set up a Google Cloud folder, iCloud folder, and you upload your files in there. Do you want your files in there to be public by default so everyone in the world can just see it by default? Probably not, okay? You probably don't want all of your files to be public to the world by default. And the same thing happens with S3. It's going to assume that you don't want your files to be public by default. So it's going to keep all of your files private by default. The error message you're seeing is telling you that your static website is being hosted by S3, but the actual HTML and image files you've uploaded are still private. Okay? So what you've uploaded is still private, and that's why it says access denied. Access denied over here. The error code is a very, very helpful tool here. Access has been denied. All right, we can't see it. That's okay. To solve this error, we need to set the permission of the objects to be public. This is why we enabled ACLs in task 1. Aha. Very cool. Take a screenshot of the error message, like this. And we actually want to document the errors we run into too. So we can show people how you handle errors, okay? Error handling is such a good skill to have. What did you see when you visited the bucket endpoint URL? When I first visited the bucket endpoint URL, I saw a 403 forbidden error. The reason for this error was permission issues. S3 bucket objects are private by default. Because my website files are private, you can't access them over the internet yet. Okay? I hope that's all clear. Click done. If you have any questions about that, share them in the chat, yeah? But we're about to solve this problem now. This is the final step of this project. We're already almost at the end. So let us do this final step. We're so close to making your website available online. The only missing ingredient is to make your website files publicly accessible. So everyone has permission to view your website. In this step, get ready to make your website files in S3 publicly accessible, and then see the website live on the internet. It's gonna be cool. Keep this error message tab open. Keep it open. Switch back to the S3 console tab, okay? We're back here now. Do you know how to get from here to viewing your S3 buckets objects? Do you know how to get from here, this page that we're on now, to go back to the page where you could see the files that you've uploaded? How would you do that? How would you do that? Yeah. Emily has a great answer. Scroll up. Yeah, let's scroll up. Let's scroll up. And where do I go next, everyone? What should I do next? Yeah, objects. That's right. So click on objects, and here you are. What we're going to do now is we're going to select on objects, the objects that we have. Click on your HTML file, click on your folder, and then we're going to click on actions. Which option should I pick here? Hint, you can find the answer of which one I should pick from the guide. Which option should I pick here under actions? Cool. We have Emily saying make public using ACL. Okay, so let's pick that. Let's click on make public. All right. So we are making our objects public now. Oh my gosh. And look at this. S3 is like, okay, you want your objects to be public? Fine. Let me do it. It's just gone and done it. Click close. And return to the web browser tab that has the 403 forbidden message. Okay, I'm here. What should I do now? Refresh the tab. Well, what we've done just now is we've made the files public. They're public to the world now. So what's going to happen when I refresh the tab? Ta-da! My website files are now public to the world. And because they're now public to the world, when you now refresh the link to my S3 buckets endpoint URL, you can now see a fully functioning website. Just like that. What do? Upload some files into a bucket. Second thing, what do we do? We enabled static website hosting. We fixed some permission issues, and we refreshed the page. We visited our URL, endpoint URL, and now you can see a live website. Can everyone else see a live website? If you don't, if you see these error pages, you can also comment that here. Do you see an error message instead? Do you see a page that doesn't look quite right instead? We have some help for common errors that you can run into. Okay. Let us know. What do you see? If you run into that error, if your website actually looks like this right now, this is a common error that can happen. And in this error, what has happened here is that you are likely using a Windows computer, and when you unzipped your zip file, you actually needed to click into that folder, click into the unzipped folder, and then upload a subfolder that's inside that folder. So Windows users have this extra step where when you unzip your folder, okay, what do you see? Do you unzip your folder and you see this right away? Do you see all of your image assets right away? Or do you get something else? If you actually click into your unzipped folder and you see that there's actually a subfolder inside, you should be uploading that subfolder instead of this main folder. So what Windows users could be seeing is something like this. I think this is a common file structure for Windows users. They will end up seeing something like this that's like exactly the same name as well. Everyone should be a job. They love files. And then they might have another folder that says Mac OS X, like this. Oh. This might be something you see if you're a Windows user. I don't know if we actually have Windows users in the call right now. So if you see this error, let me know. If you don't, and you actually see a functioning static website right now, update the chat as well. What do you see? Cool. Is everyone also focused and working through their project? Okay, I put a question in the chat. What do you see when you select your endpoint URL now? Awesome. Priyanshu can see a fully functional website. Priyanshu, would you like to share your endpoint URL with me in the chat? And I'll share mine. So let me copy my endpoint URL. Copy this now. And let me paste that in the chat. What do you see now when you click on my link? And can you send me your link, Priyanshu? Cool. Awesome. Can anyone else also try clicking on my link and then seeing what they see, telling me what they see? Cool. No worries. If you're super focused on your work, that's totally cool. What's going to happen now is you still have to wrap up your project. Now that you have hosted your static website and it's up in the cloud, you just have to take a screenshot of the successful web page like this. Let's take a screenshot now. Take a screenshot like this. And then drag your screenshot again to the step-by-step guide, and then answer the question. To resolve the connection error, the 403 forbidden error, I made the objects in my bucket public using ACLs. I refreshed the website and I refresh my bucket endpoint URL and can see a functioning static website. Awesome. That looks great. So when you're all finished with this project, you can just scroll down and talk about what is Amazon S3 and why it's useful. Amazon S3, this is like the wrap-up part now for your project. Amazon S3 is AWS's storage service that lets you store your files in the cloud. It is useful for storing any kind of file, as well as hosting static websites. In this project today, that's the next question. How did you use Amazon S3 in today's project? In this project today, I used Amazon S3 to host a static website using its bucket, host a static website, which I can now access using a bucket endpoint URL. Last two questions. What is one thing you didn't expect in this project? This is where you can enter something like, I didn't expect this project to take only 30 minutes to complete. Oh, actually you can say, I didn't expect that after uploading your website files, you would still need to make the objects public using ACLs. Yeah. Last thing, how much time did this project take you? This project took me just 30 minutes to complete. Okay, when you're all done, just make sure you delete all of your resources. So we're here in our S3 bucket, and you can delete your resources by going to the buckets page, into your buckets page. And then let's say you want to delete the entire bucket. You select your bucket, select delete, and it's going to tell you that you need to empty the bucket first. So click on empty bucket and click on type permanently delete like this to empty your bucket. And once you leave it, you're going to just delete that bucket fully like this. Delete the bucket. And then you're all done. You've deleted your objects. Okay, so you can also refresh your endpoint and it's gone now. Now it's a 404 not found. Okay, because your bucket has been deleted, so it doesn't exist anymore. Oh, so sad. Your website's not live anymore. And that's the reason why taking screenshots is so important. Okay, so when you're done, you can scroll to the very bottom over here. And you can also, oops, I see that there's one that was still not complete. You can select mission accomplished. Boom, and you're done with this project. What's going to happen now is that documentation is being generated as we speak, but you can actually close your AWS account now. You can download your documentation when it's ready. Boom. And then when you click on your document, you can see it ready for you now, just like that. So this is your amazing work, your screenshots, the things that you've entered, all ready for you now. Here you go. It looks amazing. Great work. Every single answer that you've entered is now here. All the screenshots that you've taken are now here. And it's in one handy PDF for you. Emily, thank you so much for saying this is amazing. That's so sweet. Well, something that's also an amazing add-on is that now that you have created something cool, why don't you share about it? After all, No one else will know that you've created this cool thing if you don't share about it to the world. An awesome part about doing projects is that it's so visual, that when you share it with someone else, they'll be like, whoa, this is cool. So let's click on that share on LinkedIn link over here. And ta-da! The moment you click on that link, you get a pre-made post on LinkedIn for you that will teach you how you can post about this project to promote your personal account as someone that is learning cloud computing and someone that is doing awesome projects. As a summary on what you did in today's project, it's written in a style that's great for LinkedIn SEO, and there's even hashtags that you can use here as well. Thank you so much, Emily, for saying, oh my gosh, I'm excited. Yeah, honestly, it's pretty cool. You can also make sure that you just type next work like this. Make sure you're tagging next work, because the moment you tag us, you expose your post to so many more people. Everyone that's following the next work page can see it. We can comment on it because we see that you've tagged us. Make sure to click the X button here. So you close that preview so you can click on more, add a document. You know the drill. Guess what document we're adding? Yep, the amazing documentation you've just generated. So you can say your name. In that case, let's say we're Emily, and we'll go Emily, AWS, host a static website with S3, with Amazon S3 as your title, maybe. Click done, and ta-da! Now you have a post that comes with a PDF, just like that. Okay, and when that's all done, you can see that it's all ready for you. You just click post, and off it goes into the world. I think you'll be surprised when you see just how amazing Nextdoor students are with creating these posts and sharing it with the world. I mean, I'd love to just show you now, actually. Why don't I show you now? If you go into, oh, this is the automatic post for another project, but if you go into Nextwork, for example, and you actually just type in Nextwork AWS like this, Nextwork AWS, you will see immediately, just in the past 24 hours, how many projects are being done across the world. Okay, how many people are actually just building their AWS profile, doing these projects, and look at all these cool projects you could be doing. We've just done one. We've done one, host a static website with Amazon S3, and now you get a preview for all of the other projects you get to do. Look at that. So that's one other project that you can get an entire free step-by-step guide for. Here's another project you can get a free step-by-step guide for. Here's like another project you can get a free step-by-step guide for. Yeah, awesome. Look at all of these different projects you could be doing. Visualize data with QuickSight. You got this. And they're all with step-by-step guides like the one that you've just seen. So we also walk you through exactly what you should do, every single step, every single click, to get to the end. But this documentation is still going to be your original work, because it's still going to be stuff that you've written yourself and screenshots that you've taken yourself. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. Look at all of these different projects you could be doing. I am incredibly proud of where the Nextdoor community is today. And I think with these opportunities right in front of you, there are so many awesome projects you could be doing to build your portfolio, build your reps of using AWS, and become more confident as a student as well. I hope that first project we did together gave you a quick intro on what is S3 and how you can use it. And now there's so many others that you can use to learn about all these other services. Cool. So Emily saying, this is amazing. I usually write my own the technical documentation. Wow, that's very impressive. And yeah, you're so excited. Emily, I'm so excited too, honestly. I can't wait to see everyone's documentation from this chat. I think it genuinely is something that you can generate in minutes. And when you shared it with me, make sure to tag me so I can see it and give you like a big cheer online as well. Awesome. So that is a wrap for today's session. and I hope it helps you with getting started with your AWS Projects Journey. Do we have any questions? Anything that you're unsure about? Anything you'd like some guidance on? I'm also just going to paste that link in the chat one more time to this project guide so you can get started. Cool. It looks like we're all sorted, everyone. It looks like we're all sorted. A big shout out to everyone for keeping so engaged for this entire, what ended up being a 2-hour workshop as an AWS newbie. I hope you got something away from it. And I hope to see you in your next project. Just like what we've demoed so far, that was a 30-minute project. Eventually, you can do 1-hour ones. You can do ones outside of S3. There's so many things you can be doing here. I can't wait to stay in touch with you over the community. If you haven't joined the Nextwork community yet, let me show you what that looks like. Actually, so I'm going to quickly steal your attention just one more time to show you the Nextwork community. So the Nextwork community is where you can just post your documentation and ask questions. So this is where people can also share what projects that they've done. If you're stuck, you get into an error. Look at that. Somebody help me on this. Okay, you can just check the comments and see how quickly we start helping out each other here. It's amazing. Everyone is also sharing their work. Again, we have someone who needs help. Oh, okay, I'll make sure to help out Mr. Kunnell after this. And yeah, we also have people celebrating their certifications. It's awesome. So we're all just learning AWS here together. Please join this community. It's where we ask all our questions as well. And it's where we celebrate our successes. Okay, so I've added the link to the community in the chat as well. All right, everyone, that is an official wrap to today's session. I'll see you in your next project. We'll stay in touch in the next community. And thank you so much for your time today. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Cool beans. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you so much, Prabal. See ya. Bye, everyone.